She walked past him like he wasn't even there, like he was part of the furniture. Like the worn camera bag on his shoulder and the scuffed boots on his feet made him invisible. But sometimes, the people we look through are the very ones God places in our path for a reason. This is a story about pride, about the moment it cracks, and about what's waiting for us on the other side of it. Her name was Sienna Voss, and if you typed her name into any fashion search engine 3 years ago, the results would have been stunning. Cover after cover, campaign after campaign, a face that seemed designed by the universe itself. Sharp cheekbones, gray-green eyes, a presence that filled a room before she even walked into it. By 26, Sienna had worked with 4 major European brands, appeared in 2 international magazine features, and had a following that counted in the hundreds of thousands. She had earned her confidence. She would tell you that herself. But somewhere along the way, confidence had quietly become something else. It had become a wall. Her agency manager, a tired but patient woman named Carla, had watched the shift happen slowly. The way Sienna stopped saying thank you to the makeup artists. The way she scrolled through her phone while stylists worked around her. The way she once told a junior photographer, a young kid barely out of school, that his angles were embarrassing. Carla kept quiet. Business was business, and Sienna still delivered results. Until she didn't. The campaign that was supposed to change everything was called Lumiere, a high-end skincare line launching across 5 countries. The brand was elegant, soft, and deeply human. They wanted photographs that felt like memories, like trust, like a woman completely at peace with herself. Sienna had been their first choice. But 3 days into the shoot, the lead photographer, a celebrated name who had flown in from Paris, quietly pulled the creative director aside. "She's beautiful," he said carefully. "But the camera isn't finding her. There's something closed." They tried different lighting, different locations, different music playing softly in the background. Nothing worked. The photographs were technically perfect and emotionally hollow. Lumiere had a deadline. The campaign was due to launch in 6 weeks. And so, quietly, reluctantly, they made a call. Carla broke the news to Sienna on a Tuesday morning over the phone. Sienna didn't respond for a long moment. Then she said, very quietly, "Find me the next job." But the next job was slow in coming, and the one after that fell through at the last minute. The industry was small, and it had a long memory. Word had started to travel, not cruelly, just honestly. "She's difficult. She's cold. The camera can feel it." By November, Sienna was sitting in her apartment, surrounded by every beautiful thing her career had bought her. And she felt completely, profoundly alone. "There's one option," Carla said slowly. "It's not a big campaign. It's actually quite small. A local brand. They make handmade goods, community-focused. They want something authentic, real faces, real emotion. The photographer they've hired is named Marcus Webb." Sienna didn't know the name. "He's not well known," Carla admitted. "He works mostly with non-profits, community projects. He drives an old pickup truck, and he shows up looking like he just came from a hardware store." "But Sienna, the people who've worked with him say his photographs change you. They can't always explain how." Sienna was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Fine." She arrived at the location, a small urban garden space in the older part of the city, 20 minutes late, and dressed in a way that made very clear she considered this beneath her. Marcus Webb was already there, crouching near a patch of late-season flowers, adjusting something on a camera that looked older than Sienna's career. He was wearing a flannel shirt and work boots. His hair needed a cut. He didn't look up when she arrived. She stood there for a moment, waiting to be acknowledged. He kept adjusting his lens. "You're the photographer?" she finally said. He looked up then. He had kind eyes, tired but genuinely kind. "Marcus," he said, "you must be Sienna. There's tea on that table if you want some. We'll start in about 10 minutes. She didn't want tea. She wanted this to be over. For the first hour, it was stiff and strange. Marcus didn't direct her the way other photographers did. There were no grand gestures, no theatrical vision setting. He just moved around her quietly, sometimes crouching, sometimes stepping back, watching more than shooting. "You don't have to perform," he said at one point, almost to himself. "I'm not performing," she said. "I know," he replied gently. "That's what I mean." She didn't understand what that meant, and somehow that irritated her more than anything else. The shift happened in the second hour. An older woman from the neighborhood had wandered into the garden. She tended a small plot there, had for years. Her name was Rosa. She was small and slow-moving, and she carried a canvas bag full of seed packets. She didn't notice the cameras. She just made her way to her corner of the garden and began her quiet work. Marcus lowered his camera and watched her. Then he looked at Sienna. "Tell me about someone you love," he said. Sienna blinked. "What?" "Someone who made you feel safe when you were small. A person, a place, anything real." She almost said something sharp. The reflex was right there, automatic as breathing. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the quietness of the garden. Maybe it was Rosa, to herself 10 feet away, completely unbothered by the world. Maybe it was the way Marcus was looking at her, not like a photographer waiting for the right face, but like a person genuinely curious about another person. Sienna's eyes moved to the old woman, and before she could stop it, she thought of her grandmother. A small house, a kitchen that always smelled like cardamom, hands that were always busy but always had time for her. She hadn't thought about her grandmother in years. She didn't say any of this out loud, but something in her face changed. Marcus raised his camera. Later, he told her it was the most beautiful 3 minutes of photography he had ever taken. The brand loved the images. More than loved them, they were moved by them. They called Carla directly to ask what had happened, what had shifted. The photographs looked like something rare. A beautiful woman who had, for just a moment, forgotten to protect herself. The campaign launched quietly in December. By January, it had been shared tens of thousands of times, and sitting in her apartment on a cold Thursday evening, reading comment after comment from strangers saying, "This made me call my mother, and I don't know why, but I cried." Sienna felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time. She felt like herself. She called Marcus a few days later. "I want to understand what you did," she said. He was quiet for a moment. "I didn't do anything," he said. "You just stopped trying to be impressive. And what was underneath that was what people needed to see." She was quiet for a long moment. "I was rude to you," she said finally. "When I arrived. I'm sorry." "You were scared," he said simply. "It happens." She never became the person she had been before. But maybe that was the point. The wall didn't come back, not all the way. She started saying thank you again, genuinely. She started showing up early. She started looking at the people around her on set, the stylists, the assistants, the junior photographers, and actually seeing them. She never forgot the lesson she learned in a small urban garden from a man in worn work boots who drove an old pickup truck and carried a camera older than her career. That the most powerful thing a person can be, in front of a lens, in front of the world, in front of the people they love, is simply, honestly, open. Sometimes it takes a quiet soul to remind a loud world what beauty really is. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today.